Welcome back to my channel here at Windy Cigar headquarters. I have got another interesting one for us today. I have got a Gurka. So some of you may recall in my Cigar International video, Cigars International, that I spotted a $750 stick up there, and it was a Gurka. This one is a Churchill 7x52. You can see it is a beauty, and this was only $11. So I'm interested to try this. It's got an interesting guy on the cigar band there. I wouldn't say the cigar band is beautiful, but I would definitely say it's interesting. This thing has a Connecticut seed wrapper on it, 5-year aged tobaccos. This is the Dominican Republic stick. So it smells like a typical stuff that I smell on my channel here. It smells like cedar and tobacco. It smells good. It's a decent size, a 7x52. So let's get it cut, get a cold draw, get it lit, see what we got. I've also got a whiskey pairing to go with it today. So this brand, other than the fact that I didn't know there was cigars that are that much money, and apparently that $750 price point isn't even the top of the mountain for these guys. They have like a $12,000 cigar or something. So this brand gets a lot of hate and also some love. As I was going down a rabbit hole of hatred, I also found some people online that say it's one of the best out there, that it's a premium brand. Gurka, to me, sounds like an Indian name. Got a nice draw, nice cold draw. Getting some more cedar, some toasted nuts, some kind, an almond or something. Like I said, I don't expect it to blow my mind for $11, considering this seems like their budget end of their brand. They've got some really expensive stuff out there, so I'm just hoping that I get a smoke from this thing that's worth 11 bucks. Kind of smells some almost like metal too. Like it smells like a penny a little bit. All right. I don't get any taste of metal, but I can smell what smells like a little bit of metal. It's not my hand, I just washed them. All right, let's get it toasted up and lit. What's everybody up to today? What are you guys drinking? What are you guys smoking? Who's had a Gurka? Am I the only one that hasn't had this? I saw maybe 10 different ones that I could afford, or that I was willing to pay the money for. This one was of the lighter, more mild profile. It was a pretty highly rated stick as well, as far as just its rating online on the websites that I check and purchase off of. It smells kind of like a campfire a little bit when I light it. Kind of smells like some burnt wood when I'm toasting it up. All right, just singed it a little bit there. Got to watch these Connecticut seed wrappers. All right, let's get it lit. It's creamy. You're getting cedar. Like I said, a little bit of nut, tobacco. Let's get into it an inch, find out what's really going on. It's got a really good draw. So far, it reminds me of like a Perdomo, like a Lot 23. Retro cedar, creamy toastedness. Like a nut, some kind of nut, like an almond, something like that. As I said, these are 5-year aged tobaccos that go in here. So I don't expect this thing to knock my socks off as far as being one of the best cigars I ever smoked, but I certainly hope for the price I can at least get 45 minutes of enjoyment out of this thing. Just did a straight cut on the end. I think I showed you that. Just nipped it off with the Perfecto cutter. It has someone's name on that cigar band. K. Han Satoya. I apologize. I'm sure that person's not watching me, but I apologize for saying your name wrong. And it says Legend. I do not see it say handmade anywhere, but I'm sure these are handmade. Dominican Republic sticks. It's very nice and mild, light. I'm gonna set that down and get to our whiskey. All right, so I thought there's a guy with a butcher knife or something on the cigar band. Let's go with something that looks like blood. I've done makers on this channel. My favorite, the cast strength. This one is the French Oaked, No.46. I've had this before. I know it's good. It was on sale for 37 bucks. Typically $40. This is going to be a 96 proof. It is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, barreled, finished, with 10 virgin French oak staves. So this is the Kid. You know, this is a wheated bourbon, and if you pause the video to read that, if you want to, the Kid basically decided he wanted to do something to set himself apart from his old man and the company, and this was his idea to take Maker's Mark that had already been, you know, aged in barrels like typical, and then put it into another barrel after the fact with some of these French oak staves, which is just basically a piece of wood that provides additional flavor to the whiskeys. So they do this with lots of stuff, not just bourbon. I just like Makers. I like wheated bourbons. So I'm gonna open this up. It's got decent proof on it. Price point wasn't horrible. Thought I'd share this with you guys in case you ever thought about trying it. You get an idea of what it's like. I believe this is a screw top. Yeah, it's a plastic screw top there. It smells like bourbon. It smells good. Let's get it in a glass. Had a good glug there. I like that. It smells like a typical sweet wheated bourbon, but you get something extra. If you put this in a glass and blinded me, I don't know that I'd tell you it's French oak staves in here, but I certainly don't hate what I smell. Kind of smells a little like cherry. Get like some oak, some caramel. All right, I'll let that chill out for a minute. It's beautiful here. It's a great temperature. It's in the mid to high 60s, but it is windy. It's been so windy, in fact, that I had been taking notice about how windy it is, and I actually looked it up. And it has been windier here each year since 2022. So it's going to be 2025 soon. So basically for 3 years straight, the wind where I live in the Northeast in Pennsylvania has increased. It has gotten windier here. I started to notice this about a year and a half ago, that it seemed like it was never not windy where I live. Wind's just a little tough when you're smoking a cigar and maybe trying to rake up some leaves. Not complaining, but definitely noticed it's been windier. This cigar seems like a high quality cigar. Like I said, this guy, I don't know what his deal is. Gurka sounds Indian. I don't know if this is the guy's name that makes the cigars. I don't know if that's an Indian name or not, but the name Gurka sounds like an Indian name. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. And that dude looks like some kind of a killer, a butcher. Maybe he's a military guy. Maybe he's a magician with a knife. I don't know. So far, I can't give this thing any hate. It seems like a very high quality cigar. Again, it has the smooth Connecticut seed wrapper on it. It's burning uniform. It has a tight ash. It has good flavor. You know, I'd like to get this thing for less than $11, but if this was the profile you were looking for and they had one of these, I don't see any reason why not to spend the $11 on it. I'm sure, like in a lot of my other videos, someone's going to comment that this cigar, either they can't get it or that it's 20 bucks where they live. So I feel fortunate that I'm able to get my hands on and explore cigars like this. Yeah, it's really creamy. It has a creamy mouthfeel. Like when you chew the smoke, it has a nice, inviting, smooth feel to it in your mouth. Seems like the cedar has died down a little bit. That happens to me a lot. I get cedar, a blast of cedar on the you know, the cold draw, and then on light up and retro, beginning of the retro, and then it tends to go away a little bit for me. This is really no different. I think without the cigar bands on here, you could probably put this in my hand and tell me it's a Perdomo, and I don't know that I'd be able to say you're wrong. It reminds me of that a lot. Right as I started talking nice about it, now the ash is falling apart a little, but it's still good. I'm getting like a little coffee too, a little coffee bean, you know, very mild coffee flavor. I noticed my local cigar lounge that I've been really into lately. The guy that owns it has a sample pack of these in his humidor, and it's a 5 or 6 pack. I didn't see this beauty in there though. I didn't look super close, but I went with this one because its profile is mild, and I thought, well, I'm gonna start with these guys. I'll start with a mild cigar. I've been into Connecticut seed wrappers lately, more than I ever have, so that's what made me choose this cigar. They have other ones too where this guy's not on the cigar band, but I just thought he looked badass, and I wanted to start with one with him on it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Have you smoked one of these? Are they your favorite? Are they your least favorite? Do you know anything about them? I never knew anything about them. I never heard of them until I was looking at that video I made, and I saw that $750 cigar. I looked it up and it was a Gurka, and I'm like, $750 for a cigar. Then I realized that that's not that much. There's cigars that are thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. Some of you are gonna know more than me, but the cigar I saw that was like 12,000 bucks was supposedly made with some kind of a tobacco plant that is really hard to grow, and it's from a special location, and it's watered with Fiji spring water its whole life, I guess, and has some kind of a crazy aged expensive cognac in it. Again, these things are way out of I'm never going to explore anything like that on this channel. I've mentioned that before. But I would love for somebody to hand me one of those and say, you can't sell this, you have to smoke it. And then I would smoke it. All right, let's check out this Maker's Mark. No. 46, French Oaked, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I think I said 96 proof earlier. and it is a 94 proof. It smells great. Interesting. Very interesting. So I've had a couple finished whiskeys. I make sure when I try them that they're always high proof, higher proof, 90 or above. This one, I'm getting like a cola vibe. Like it almost tastes like a flat cola. It's not a bad thing. It's just interesting to me. I haven't had it for a while. I have drank it before. I think I even had a bottle of it. I bought a bottle of it when it was on sale one time. I just trust makers too, and I thought these two would look good together, this cigar and this bottle of whiskey. So give it a couple more minutes to make sure that we think it's worth $37, but I'm pretty sure we're in good shape here. Get that wax top there. All right. Yeah, 94 proof, says it right on the side. It says Bill Jr., which is obviously the kid, finished this expression with virgin French oak staves. I don't know what virgin French oak means. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that means they're brand new and hadn't been used for anything prior. They were grown and then turned into staves. With virgin French oak staves for extra wood spice, bolder notes of vanilla and caramel, and a longer finish. And it was the stave profile number 46, so that's why it's called number 46. I do get the bolder notes, the wood and the spice. It doesn't say anything about cola, so, and I don't drink cola, at least not very often. Yeah, we're an inch in now. This thing's giving me all the right stuff. Giving me, a little bit of wood, a little bit of nut, cream, creaminess. 5-year aged. That's not bad. I believe that's what the Perdomo Lot 23s are. It reminds me a lot of Lot 23. Yeah. I'd smoke this again for sure. It's making my mouth juicy, like a lot of these cigars do. I know it's not the most pleasant thing to see some spit come out of my mouth, but I consider it kind of a good quality when it makes my mouth sort of moist and not dry. Maybe that's just nothing. Maybe that's just some coincidence. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't smoked too many cigars that made my mouth dry, so could just be how I am. I don't know. It's a nice change from the last exploration I did on here where I had a 70 gauge in my mouth. I'd much rather have a 52. That 70 was a little big. I think, unless I'm really interested in exploring something, I think from here on out, 60 and below gauge is good for me. And this 52 is just about perfect. 52, 54, just about perfect gauge. What's your favorite gauge? Do you have one? Do you care? Do you even think about it? Easy to retro, which in my opinion, unless you're looking for something to crush you, unless you're looking for something that's just super bold and super on the aggressive side of things, an easy to retro pale cigar that's a good quality. That means that you've got something that's probably of good quality, but also is on the more mild, reasonable side. If you're smoking something this size, maybe you don't want something that's going to knock your socks off. We'll go back to the cigar lounge, and there was something there that the owner was smoking, and I asked him, what are you smoking? What are you smoking? What are you drinking? And he said it was some kind of a nails, and it was a little dark, little black cigar. And he said, but don't even try it. He said, I can't even retro it. He said, it burns my eyes and my nose is, dripping in, my eyes are watering, and it just made me want to get one and smoke it. Maybe I'll get one and smoke it for you guys sometime. Explore it with you. When somebody says that to me, I'm just that kind of person. If you say don't do something, or you don't want to do that, or it just makes me want to do it. Not jump off a bridge or anything, but try a strong little cigar, because I've had some really strong stuff so far. But lately, this has just been sort of my thing. I dig these Connecticut seeds, these more mild to medium cigars. That full strength stuff, just after I've had, a quarter or half a bottle of whiskey, those stronger ones do appeal to me more, probably because I'm drunk, or at least have a good buzz, and they're easier to smoke when you're probably intoxicated. This was the first drink of the day for me today, of course, so this lighter cigar is nice. I tell you guys in every video, stay tuned, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I got a lot more content coming up. Made my 81st video the other day. I'm not going to start counting it on every video, but it just was surprising to me that I had made that many exploration videos. And I don't want you to think that I'm not getting tobacco on this thing too. I'm getting a very, very nice, mild tobacco. It's toasty. It's like a toasted. When I was, when I was toasting the end of it, I was getting sort of like a campfire vibe out of it, like an actual burning wood. Like if you're sitting from a campfire from a distance and you would smell that slight, campfire smell, wood smell. That was what I was smelling off this thing, and I'm getting a little of that too. Everything is super mild though. Nothing is strong. Not a single note that I get is a strong note on this thing. It's all very mild. So I'm curious. I'll probably pick up another one of these that isn't so mild, just to see, what it's like. See if I enjoy it as much as this. I'm not surprised I'm enjoying this as much as I am, but there's a lot of people that hate these cigars online. I mean, hate them like they say they're a waste of money. They're trash. They're made out of trash. I definitely lean towards Nicaraguan sticks, but I'm not against a Dominican stick or a Honduran stick at all. What's your favorite country of origin for cigars? Do you have one? Do you care? Do you even look where they're from when you get them? Yeah, it's the kind of cigar that you can play around with. You can leave the smoke in your mouth, chew on it, as I mentioned, do the retro, and it delivers. It gives you what you want. It gives you a smoking experience. So, you're smoking a cigar when you smoke it, but it's so mild. For me, we're not a third yet into this, but I would say this is a mild cigar. I'd say on my scale of 1 to 10, this is a 2 right now. Will it go to 3? Possibly. Sometimes these things get way spicy in the last third. Right now, there's just none of that. All right, let's try this bourbon again. Back of the bottle, bottom of the bottle. I showed you the sides and the front already. Yeah, I think. I mean, so I'm used to drinking the Maker's Mark cast strength, which has a a higher proof, at least 15 more proof points than this. So to say this is, I mean, this may be spicier than the typical Makers. It may even give you more vanilla and caramel than the typical Makers, but I don't know that I'm at liberty to say for sure that this is providing that. It's only a couple more dollars where I live, for this over the regular Makers. The regular Makers is 90 proof. This is 94. I'd say if you haven't had either, the Makers, regular Makers 90 proof or this, maybe pick up the Makers first, the regular one, or pick them both up if you want and you can, and try them together. I just thought of that. I don't know that I would have done it even if I thought of it. I typically like to stick to one bourbon, one whiskey. Cigar is really the star of the show here, so this is just kind of like a pairing, sort of a partner in crime to go with it. It is spicy though. It hits the back of your throat, back of your tongue, with a pretty kick, like a good little kick to it. Yeah, $37. I'm not upset. Doing good today. We got two good things. They're going well together. Not spicy and a little spicy. Perfect. I mean, I guess if you put this guy's knife to my head right now and make me pick, I think I like Churchill size cigars. I like the extra inch, they're 7 inches compared to a lot of them that are 6. But the Robustos are good too. I guess for a smaller stick, I'd pick Robusto, and for a larger stick, I'd go with this Churchill size. It just feels like I'm going to get, obviously the extra inch. And the gauge isn't bad. It's not like this is a 42. 7 by 42, the gauge would maybe a little small. But a 7 by 52, it's going to give me some time with it. My goal is to try to spend about an hour with a cigar. So about 25 minutes into this one. And I'd say we're getting close to half. Maybe not quite. Maybe not even quite into the second, third yet. So, very enjoyable though. Yeah. Just real creamy. I know I said it 10 times, but it's very enjoyable. And the Gurka brand, it wasn't the beauty that was getting, shade thrown at it on the internet. It was just the brand in general. Like all of them. Like, don't try one. They're all terrible. They're all, like, what did these people do? Like, what happened to this brand? Does anybody know? Seems fine to me. Maybe it's one of those things where, it's a secret. Nobody wants you to smoke them. They want them all for themselves, so they say they're bad. And that way, nobody buys them, and then people can smoke them, and they're never looking for them. They're always available. I don't know. Hope the weather's like this for the next week and a half. That would be nice. I'd like to get into Thanksgiving and have it be nice. I remember some Thanksgivings that it was just brutally cold. And for me, here at Cigar Exploration Headquarters, I like to smoke outside. I haven't gone down the road of figuring out if I'm going to be smoking cigars indoors at the headquarters here when the weather is unbearable to smoke them outside. You know, when it's just freezing cold and windy, it's going to be tough to enjoy a stick outside. So I ran this by a couple of people that I know, and most of them said you need to build yourself some sort of a cigar smoking room. Whether that's, you know, in a garage if you have one, or some kind of a basement. It involves construction. It involves installing fans and heaters a lot of times. I just don't know that I'm really, able and willing to go down that road. Even if I wanted that done, to call somebody now, I can't do that myself. It's just too much for me. I'm too busy. To have somebody do that, I'm sure you're on a waiting list. It'd be next year until anybody even got to me. So if I'm going to do that, I probably want to start a project like that, like in the spring. I mean, the one guy literally said, he's a construction guy. And he's all back. He has projects for months and months. He's out until springtime already, his timeline for projects. But he said that, buy one of those prefabricated like sheds and turn it into like a smoking lounge. And I'm like, I'm not putting another building on my property and making it into a cigar lounge. I guess I'm just going to be at the cigar lounge a lot. And hopefully you can make a video or two in those cigar lounges when I find something that I think is worth exploring for you guys. I don't have any plans to slow down, but I can just feel winter tapping on my shoulder. I don't think it's going to be too long until it gets really cold. I'm just not willing to smoke cigars inside my house and just sort of turn my house into a cigar lounge. I can't even get somebody who doesn't enjoy cigars to go with me to a cigar lounge, and then I'll never have anybody at my house again. I like to cook. I like to have people over for a nice meal. I don't want to jeopardize that. First world problems over here, I'm getting cola in this thing. Call me crazy. I'm just getting a ton of cola, like flat cola with obviously 94 proof behind it. But let me take a sip and I'll tell you. Yeah, so I get cola, flat cola, then I get a caramel and vanilla bomb with spice and proof. Proof is just alcohol, finish, and then it is sort of a rich, nice finish. It lingers, on the back of my throat. It doesn't finish thin or weak or anything like that. The finish is nice. Wow, I really wish I had a bottle of regular Maker's Mark. Some cherry maybe, but it's a wheated bourbon. A lot of times with wheated bourbon, you end up picking up cherry flavors. So that could be why the cherry is in there. For a finished whiskey though, I think it's pretty good. I don't know that I'd know for sure it was finished if you just put it in a glass and said, here, try this. What is it? Do you like it? I don't know that I'd tell you it's finished. And I mean, I've had hundreds of whiskeys now, bourbons and ryes. I would probably lean towards like a weeded Kentucky. Bourbon. Probably like, I don't know. Where's this thing from? Where's Makers from? Makers is from Loretto, Kentucky. So it's Kentucky, which is probably part of the reason I'm getting that cherry in there. If you've had finished whiskeys, you know, even if it's a Scotch or something, let me know what your favorite is. You know, what you think about them. Do you reach for them every day, every week, or is it something you don't like as much as typical whiskeys? You know, what's your opinion of them? Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, first stick I'm exploring, but I'm just not sure where the hate's coming from. I mean, I know Perdomo gets a little hate too, so you know, and this reminds me of a Perdomo. So maybe just this is amateur hour. Maybe the Perdomos and these are just for rookies like me, amateurs like me, and I just don't know what I'm doing. I'll tell you what I am doing, and that's enjoying the hell out of myself right now. Might be approaching the halfway point. I just got a big burst of cedar there. Got another new for me, brand of cigar. Probably gonna be the next video. I'm excited about that one too. Another premium brand that I never tried before. So I'm really interested to see if that one is, that one doesn't get hate like this one does. That one's a loved brand. So let's see where I'll probably hate it because I seem to be going swimming upstream here compared to everybody else. So this wouldn't be a Cigar Exploration USA video without me talking about other YouTubers. And I gotta mention this. And I wish I could remember how old the video is. I don't think it's that old. It might be a week or so old. But Cigars Daily is a channel that I subscribe to and that I follow them, and I don't miss any of his videos. If he posts a video and I'm interested in it, I usually watch him no matter what, but if I'm interested in it, I never miss one. And he posted a video, this guy Tim from Cigars Daily, posted a video, and he said in the video that he lost 4,000 cigars. Just let that sink in for a minute. He lost 4,000 cigars. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's obviously, been doing this for a long time, a lot longer than me. This guy's not an amateur. This guy's a pro. I don't know him. I don't know his channel more than what I see on the internet. I have no inside information, but I can just assume that I assumed that he was making a living from his channel, which is not even something I'm considering for me. But I never thought, and when he said he lost 4,000 cigars, I didn't understand what that meant. And then I realized that Cigars Daily is actually an online store. I thought he just had a YouTube channel where he was, you know, smoking cigars and exploring cigars and rating cigars and reviewing cigars. I didn't realize it was a store. So it turns out it's a store. So now you're saying to yourself, all right, come on, get to it. How did he lose 4,000 cigars? This is where the story gets even more crazy. So he didn't lose 4,000 cigars and then like be able to find them. He got a shipment of cigars and didn't count them all and was short 4,000 cigars. First of all, how many cigars do you have to get in a shipment to be short 4,000 cigars? To be short 4,000 cigars and not notice. That, I mean, that would be like me ordering 20 boxes of cigars, which I would never do. But if I ordered 20 boxes of cigars, and if I was missing one box, I would notice. But he even says in his video, he's like, that's why you count your order when you order cigars. You count them when you get them. I don't think I'm ever going to have that problem. I think the most cigars I've ever ordered at one time was 40. And that was because they were quorums. And I ordered 20 Suns and 20 Shades. So 40 cigars. And for that order, I've talked about this in every video ever made on here. You know, it was $80 for 40 cigars, $2 a piece. I counted them just because they showed up and I just, you know, I saw they were in bundles. You ever order a bundle of 20 or see a bundle of 20? You know, it's 5 rows of 4 or 4 rows of 5, however you want to look at it. I just can't imagine how many cigars you have to order to not notice you're missing 4,000 cigars. But makes sense. I mean, these guys have to make money. These online sites, you know, it's a business. Maybe you ordered 40,000 cigars at one time. Imagine the discount. And then it makes me think, like, if I'm getting quorums for $2, what did the distributor get them for? $1 a piece? Half of what I paid? Probably even less than that. You know, which brings me to when they put things on sale, you're still, even if you're getting something for half of what its MSRP is, they're still making money. You know, most of the time. You know, I've talked about the 2 boxes of cigars that I have, and I talked about the Man of War, 10 cigars for $50. You know, regularly whatever it was, 100 or whatever. You know, you're still making money on that. One could assume. I just can't stop thinking about how somebody loses 4,000 cigars. When he said that, I was like, that's not. And then he went into it and explained, and I'm like, oh. Sure, 4,000 cigars. I probably have 80 cigars, something like that. Way too many, way more than I want. But I typically don't buy them like this. I typically don't buy one. I usually would buy 5 or more at a time. And then because I like to explore, it's hard to smoke. Even if you get them in a 5-pack, it's hard to smoke 5 of them. I made a video about the Laranjas, and I've smoked almost all those already. They came in 2 5-packs, the Reserva and the Ahozelo. Of course, I don't have the cigar here but watch that video. You know, I'll pronounce it right in the video. Some of them you just gravitate to, you know, you really like. That's one of the ones I really like. So it was easy to smoke all of them. Made a new friend at the Cigar Lounge. He's into budget cigars. Gave him a couple of the quorums to try. And I still have a bunch of those left. 40 each, or 20 each. It's going to be a minute till you run out of those while you're peppering in other stuff. All right, let's take this beauty. Let's take this beauty cigar band off here. It just says beauty. It's not even the same as the other band. It's completely different style, completely different everything. It doesn't bother me. I find it interesting, actually. I thought it was a really pretty cigar. All right, so let's get this guy off here. I'm just gonna peel it off, just like so. This comes right off. Nothing fancy. Nice touch, though. Maybe this is the way to identify this cigar, because this manufacturer didn't want to put the name Beauty on here. Probably reuses this band on several different cigars. So you put use this for different ones. You can use this on, and then you put an identifier down here. Not a bad idea. Wow, this cigar actually went out. That's one of the first times that's ever happened. I must have really been talking a lot about those 4,000 cigars. All right, let's do a relight. All right, hold on a sec here. Let's get some of this ash off of here, so we have some materials we can light. So this is an example here of a person smoking a cigar too slow. You see it's indented. So I was actually talking too much. Let it go out. No big deal. No bad taste at all. Tastes like it never happened. I don't get any burnt taste or anything like that. There was no heat. Yeah, check that video out if you want on his channel, Cigars Daily. That was a fascinating video for me, just because of buying cigars like I do, but they're only for me. I'm not buying cigars to resell. About 45 minutes into this stick. It's only about halfway, so I can tell, now that I just looked at the clock, that I'm definitely smoking slow. Yeah, the creaminess just coats your palate in a good way. Do some more research into this brand and figure out what's really going on. Like I said, maybe pick up another one, maybe with a darker, more full body profile, just to see. I could see this being in my, list of absolutely good smokable cigars. I don't think it went out because something's wrong. I think it was me neglecting it. Put it back down again. Yeah, that's good stuff. get a little more. We got a couple more minutes with this stick. Screw top's a little disappointing. You know, I do like a cork. I like a cork pull. But, I mean, maybe this red wax makes up for it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you care? Is it something you even think about? It's soft bourbon with the wheat. You know, wheated bourbon just means that, typically, it means that instead of rye spice, you know, because it has to be at least 51% corn. I suspect Maker's Mark is more than 51% corn. Their mash bill may not be disclosed. Mash bill just means the percentage of grains that are in it. So I'm thinking that's probably 70+% corn, and then wheat, and it might have some malt, very little malt. Recently I've had very malty whiskeys. That's not very malty. Because remember, he puts in the additional wood, but he doesn't add anything into it. He just puts extra wood into it. Yeah, this is just a good cigar. It's just a good mild cigar. It's blowing that bug away. The gnats, little flies, gnats, whatever they are, they love bourbon. I used to drink a lot of wine, and I thought fruit flies or gnats, you know, whatever they are, loved wine. They'll pick bourbon over wine any day of the week. They love it. He's back again. Take that. I don't think they like smoke. Just bourbon, just whiskey. All right, let's take this other band off here. Cigar's getting warm and soft, which is good. Just came right off. Oh, there you go. Show you this side first. There's that scary guy I was saying with his knife. He's got to be some kind of a... I'm hoping he's some kind of a soldier, not just like some murderer. And there's the back. GurkaCigars.com. I may head on to that website after I'm done here, just because I want to learn some more about them. Like I said before, I don't like to know too much, basically, before I explore a cigar. You know, especially the first one of that brand I've explored. I don't want to know every little detail. Sometimes speculating is a little fun, trying to figure out what's going on. You know, this is a Dominican stick, but Gurka sounds like an Indian name and could easily be the guy's name that was on the cigar band here. Could easily be, you know, he could easily be an Indian gentleman or ma'am. I'm not sure if it's a guy or girl. But he could easily be Indian, and that's, you know, his name in there. Gurka could be Indian. I knew an Indian girl growing up. She was super sweet. She's one of my favorite people I ever met. And she would, as soon as something like that, that name just sounds Indian from talking to her and her explaining what India is like. And she tried to get me to go to India, and I just can't deal with that flight. I don't know where you're at in the world, where you're watching from in the world, but from where I'm at, it takes like a literal day to get to India on a plane. That's just crazy to me. And then you see in India, you see their trains, and they're just packed full of people hanging off the sides and on the tops of the trains because there's nowhere to put them. I don't know. I don't like crowds and long flights, so. One of my subscribers is from Cape Town in South Africa. I don't even know if I'll ever get there. That seems far, let alone India. I know India's even further. I wish you could just beam yourself places like in the movies. And what is that? Not Star Wars, Star Trek, right? Star Trek. That's the one where you can like just beam places. That's pretty cool. I was visiting a friend the other day, and I took a jar of cigars, like literally like 15 different cigars, and he was excited because he wanted to smoke a cigar, and I show up with my jar, and I give him the jar, and he's got his face buried in the jar, and he's checking all the cigars out, and he picked one or two out that he wanted to smoke, and he's like, all right, smoke them. And I was like, all right. And then I realized I'd forgotten my cutter and my lighter, this windproof lighter. Forgot this and my cutter. So, of course, we were outdoors and it was windy. So we were doing the old cup your hands around to get the Bic lighter, get the cigars lit. But before that, we had to cut them. And so I used an actual knife and just slowly went around each of them and, cut it with a knife. And I know that people do that. There's people out there that only will light cigars with a match. There's people out there that don't use cutters. They use, a knife. This makes things a lot easier. So when I cut it with a knife, there was no problem on either cigar. I did notice, though, that like the tobacco here, the fillers was sticking up a bit, but it didn't affect it. It never fell apart or anything like that. So, I mean, you can cut a cigar with a knife. I don't know that I'm going to ever cut a cigar with a knife on this channel. But, and then the other thing, too, I just remembered, when I was at a tailgate for an NFL game, these guys were looking for a lighter, and I pulled out the torch and handed it to them, and they lit their cigars, but I noticed the end, the head of the cigar was just like gnarled. And I was like, what happened? I was like, did you guys use a chainsaw to cut these cigars? And it was just two young guys. And they're like, no, we bit it off. And I was like, maybe you should have asked around a little bit. Like, I've noticed at these tailgates, there's a lot of people smoking cigars. Somebody had a cutter. I had two cutters. But it just bit the end of it off. Which, hey, to each their own. I saw them later on. Each of them had the nub still. So they were smoking them. Into the final third of this thing, the spice has not increased. Flavors are a little more intense, maybe. I mean, the burn time on this thing, I think I was just talking too much earlier and let it go out. But the burn time's good. I mean, I would say I'm just comparing everything to Perdomo right now, but I mean, it's burning better than a Perdomo as far as the length of time. Getting a good smoke out of this. We're almost an hour into it. I don't know if you can hear that noise behind me. I can't tell if that's a bird or a squirrel. Do squirrels make noises like that? I can't see whatever it is that's making that noise. I was out here this morning just having a cup of coffee before I left for work, and I don't know what that is. I never heard a squirrel make a noise like that. At least shouldn't say that, because I might be hearing it. I never saw a squirrel making that noise. I'm kind of sad this thing's almost gone, but I'm happy with my choice. It was a good choice. Because just from what I saw, there's like 50 different, varieties of these. That's a lot.